Hi friends, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And what I have for you today is not the video that I had planned, but I heard about a community challenge and I wanted to jump on it before it was too late. This one is put out by the Rad Pack, and I'm going to link all their information down below. It's Garrett, Mel, and Justin. I'll link all their info in the description box so you can go and check them out. But what they challenged us to do is to choose 9 of our favorite movies from the year 1994. And these are not movies that I'm saying are the best movies from that year. That's not what the challenge is. These are the movies that resonated with us, or maybe they just struck a chord in us, or we watched them over and over. They had some sort of impact on our life. So I'm just going to go through them. I kind of put them in an order, but it's a very loose order because really they could be in any order. I love them all. And because I'm a big cheater, I added 2 honorable mentions because I just couldn't leave them off the list. The first honorable mention is Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. I know not everybody loves this one. I don't know how well this aged with the audience. I know when it came out, in my time when it came out, this was like a big deal. Everybody loved this. Everybody was watching it. It was being rented all the time. It was always out of stock at Blockbuster. But we rented it and watched it over and over and over again. I don't know how well it's aged with modern audiences, but I know some people love it and some people are like, meh, it's okay. I will say one thing. If you like music from the 60s and the 70s, like classic rock type music, this has an amazing soundtrack. I have it on vinyl. It sounds great. There's great music. You'll love it if you like that kind of music. So definitely check that out. So that is my first honorable mention, and my next honorable mention, we just got a 4K for this. Some people like the 4K, some people aren't too happy with the 4K, but I'm just glad it's something better than a DVD. And it is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies. And I remember when this one came out, this was another one. It was almost impossible to get it at Blockbuster. You had to put your name on a list, and we waited and waited. And finally, this was one that we actually ended up buying a copy of because my brother and I enjoyed it so much, and it was such a blast, and we used to watch it all the time. And I'm just so happy that it got a proper release. And, you know, it's an upgrade from DVD. Is it the perfect 4K? No, not at all. But I just think this is so much fun, and I've always loved it, and I was so happy to watch it again. But True Lies had to make my list somewhere, so it is an honorable mention. And now I'm going to get into my 9 that I picked. I could have put 50 films on this desk, no problem at all. But we're doing 9, so that's what I'm doing. Now this first one, I never hear anyone talk about this. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about it, but this is such a great movie. It's an underrated hidden gem of a movie, and if you can get your hands on it, please either stream it or pick up the DVD. It doesn't have a Blu-ray release. It's so good. And it stars the late, great Luke Perry in 8 Seconds. And this is the biopic of rodeo rider Lane Frost. And we just follow him from being a young man to trying to get into rodeo, bull riding, injuries that he sustained, how difficult a life this rodeo lifestyle is, how hard it was on him, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. And it is so good. I am a huge fan of bull riding and rodeo. I know it's a little aside here, but I've been to actual bull riding competitions live, and they are so exciting. These guys, they have guts to get on those bulls because they are gigantic. But this is such a great movie, and it is so deserving of a Blu-ray release. I mean, come on, give Luke Perry a Blu-ray release. He deserves it, and may he rest in peace. But he was fantastic in this. He was so good. And if you haven't seen it, please put it on your list. Please give it a look. It's really good. You won't be disappointed. And this next one, we just talked about this not long ago because it got a 4K release for the 30th anniversary. It is Brandon Lee in The Crow, and we all know the tragedy behind the making of this movie, so I don't have to get into that. But I've always loved this, and I've always been a person who was drawn to darker themed and darker looking movies. I love that vibe. I love that creepiness, and I just loved everything about this movie. And we know what it's about. We have a man, Brandon Lee's character, and his fiance who are killed, and on the 1-year anniversary of their death, he comes back to seek revenge on the people who hurt them. And it's just such a great movie. Brandon Lee is fantastic, and it's such a loss, such a shame that we lost him, because I would have loved to have seen where he went with his career. He was just fantastic, and I love this movie, and I was so happy that it got a 4K release, and the 4K looks fantastic. If you haven't picked it up yet, definitely put it on your list. But The Crow had to be on my list because I've seen it more times than I can even count. Same with same with all of them. This next one it's an adaptation of an Anne Rice novel, and it stars Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and it introduces us to a very young 11-year-old Kirsten Dunst, and that is Interview with a Vampire. And what we have is Tom Cruise plays Lestat, and he is partnered with Brad Pitt, who is Louis. And we hear this story through the viewpoint of Louis. He's kind of the one who's telling the story, and Louis is suffering from just massive depression. He's so depressed about the fact that he's a vampire, what he has to do to stay alive, and the fact that he has to just live this way forever until the end of time. And he's just having a really hard time with it. And Lestat is one tough guy to deal with, Tom Cruise's character. And they have Kirsten Dunst, who is, like I said, I think she was about 11 when she did this, and they have her, and they're kind of raising her as their daughter. So it's this whole dynamic, but it's very much a timepiece. It's got that elegance to it. It's got just the set design, everything, the tone, the vibe. It's very much a different kind of a vampire movie. It's not very dark themed. It has more of like this elegance to it, and almost like a romantic theme. It's very different. But if you haven't seen Interview with a Vampire, I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, give it a watch, because it's really different and it's very interesting, and I think it's really very well done. So this is one that I watched over and over and over, and I remember when it first came out, everybody was talking about this one. So this was a big hit when it came out. I remember the hype to it coming out, and then when it finally came out, everybody wanted to get their hands on it. So Interview with a Vampire. Now this next one is this is so much fun, and it's a John Waters film, so you know it's going to be wild. And it is Kathleen Turner, Sam Waterston, Ricky Lake, and Matthew Lillard as in Serial Mom. And Kathleen Turner plays Betty, who is allegedly the perfect good housekeeping mom. She makes sure everyone recycles. She's spying on her neighbors. She wants everyone to be perfect. Everyone should have manners, and this and that. And she has very high standards for how everyone should act. Sam Waterston plays her husband. Ricky Lake and Matthew Lillard play her children. And she also has a fascination, a deep, deep fascination with serial killers, and wild things start to happen. But this is great. It's such a dark comedy. It's so good. It's just really, really fun. I could watch this anytime, anywhere. It's another one that I have watched over and over and over. I've loved it from the first time I saw it. And one of my favorite parts of this is when she crank calls the neighbors, and that's all I'm going to say about it. If you know, you know. If you've seen it, you know. But this is a lot of fun, and I've heard that this is based on real events. If you know, let me know in the comments. Is this based on real events? I heard it was kind of based on real events that happened down in a suburb of Baltimore. So let me know. But Serial Mom had to make my list somewhere. Now this next one is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, and I just love it. It stars Sam Neill, and it is In the Mouth of Madness. And if you like H.P. Lovecraft, you are going to love this one. If you haven't seen it, put it on your list. This is the Scream Factory edition. I'm not sure I don't think this is out of print. I think it's still in print. But we have an author by the name of Sutter Kane, and he writes books, and all of a sudden he goes missing. So what happens is his publishers hire an insurance investigator played by Sam Neill to go and find him and figure out what happened, to figure out, is he alive, is he dead, what happened. And what Sam Neill originally thinks is that, yeah, this is a hoax. This is something that's going on. You know, it's kind of like a publicity stunt to sell the books and whatnot. And what he starts to do is he starts to read the novels, and then what I can tell you without ruining anything is it's kind of just a descent into madness about like what's real and what's not. And that's all I'm going to say. This is a fantastic movie. And I think this one is criminally underrated. I think more people should be talking about it. More people should be watching it. and it is one of John Carpenter's best. It is fantastic. Sam Neill is awesome in this, and like I said, if you like H.P. Lovecraft stuff, you are going to eat this up. So if you haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness, please watch it. It's so much fun. Now this one, I was so excited when this one got a 4K release from Severin of all places. Now the American name is Cemetery Man, but it also goes by Delamorte Delamore, or Delamore, Delamorte Delamore. Is it? You tell me. I don't speak Italian. You tell me how to say it, but I'll put it in the I'll put the title right here. But this is so good. It stars Rupert Everett, and he plays a guy who is in charge of the cemetery, Cemetery Man. And he has this assistant who doesn't really talk, and what they do is they bring the people in, they bury the people, and then in 7 days the people turn into zombies. So he has to make sure that he kills them again before they take over. They come back to life as zombies and they take over the whole cemetery area. And there's a lot more that goes on to it, but this is a blast of a movie. The 4K looks amazing, and I think you can still get the standard edition. This is a special edition, but you can still get the standard edition. And this, if you're a horror fan and a zombie film fan in particular, you're going to really love this. And because Rupert Everett does speak English, you can watch this in Italian or you can watch it in English, and it's really, really good. But I was so happy to see this get a really, really extra special release because it is so deserving. It's so much fun. You're going to love it. It's like got that dark comedy thing going on, but the zombies are coming out too, and you're just going to love it. It's really good. Now this next one, I was so happy to see this come to the Criterion Collection because I actually have it in a box set. It's a Region B box set, but then I saw it announced to Criterion, and this is from 1994. It is, of course we have to do the spine number. It's Criterion, Spine 1150. It's a film by Adam Agoyan. It's called Exotica, and I really love this film. I think it's one of Adam Agoyan's best films, and it really deals a lot with grief. There we have a guy who he is he's kind of like an inspector, and he's checking out this guy who owns this pet shop, and for some reason it has something to do with exotic bird eggs, and he's illegally trafficking these exotic bird eggs, and he's going over, the main guy is going over his books and his files, and he's trying to see what's really going on in this pet store. But at night he goes to this club where it's a gentleman's club, and he sits at the same table every night. He wants the same waitress, the same gal. He's never inappropriate with her. He talks to her, but we don't understand why they're having the conversations that they're having. And what I can tell you is this is an amazing story. It has a lot of layers to it. It's a lot about grief and recovery and how we deal with different situations that just life throws at us, but everything is wrapped up in the ending of this film. It's amazing. The ending will stay with you for days. I mean, this is one that rolled around in my head for days the first time I saw it. So I was so happy when it came to Criterion. If you haven't seen Exotica, another one that I highly, highly recommend. You will not be disappointed. It starts out a little bit slow. You're going to be like, what the heck is going on? What is with this guy, with this waitress? Just be patient. It'll all come around in the end. It's fantastic. And this one, I mean, who doesn't know about this one? And I would be remiss if it wasn't on my list. It's one of Quentin Tarantino's best films, I think. It stars John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Ving Rhames, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction. And I mean, what can I say about this that hasn't already been said? I love everything about this. I know some people say that this film is like totally overrated. That's your opinion. That's fine. I love it. I think it's great. I was so happy to see it get a 4K. The 4K is beautiful. It just brought me right back to be able to revisit this in 4K. It was like a brand new film. And just everything about this, I think, is great. And I have loved it since the first time I saw it. I heard about it for a while before I actually took the plunge and picked it up and rented it. And then I just kept renting it over and over and over. And eventually my mother and father started watching it. And then they didn't want me renting it as much. But they enjoy it. And my whole family enjoys it now. But Pulp Fiction had to be on my list. And I just think it's one of Quentin Tarantino's best, if not his best. And this last one, I would be remiss if I did not have this on my favorites of 1994. And just for a little aside, this happens to be my brother's favorite film of all time. We had that conversation last time I talked to him. We had this conversation, and he's like, "Oh, hands down, Shawshank Redemption." This is an adaptation of a Stephen King novel, as you know, and it stars Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, and this is just an amazing, amazing movie. And Tim Robbins plays a man who is, I believe he's serving 2 life sentences for murders he claims he did not commit. He's found guilty of the murder of his wife and her lover, and he claims that he is innocent. And in the meantime, he strikes up a friendship with Morgan Freeman while he's in jail. And we follow him as he tries to navigate life in this situation that he doesn't believe he belongs in, and how he gets through in this really rough, tough prison, and the friendship that forms between these 2 men, and dreams that they have, and things that they wish they could do, and how they get through. And it's just one of those movies that you have to watch it, and you have to watch it over and over again. Once you see it once, you're going to watch it. You're going to want to watch it immediately again. And I remember the first time I rented it, I stopped, I rewound it, and I put it right back in, and I watched it again. It is such a great movie. I could watch it anytime, anywhere, and I am so grateful that it got a beautiful 4K release. So Shawshank Redemption is my last pick for 1994. For my top 9 movies of 1994. These all have so much nostalgia for me. I watched them with my brother, I watched them with my family, I watched them with friends. I mean, it brings me right back. Just going through this list brought me right back to 1994. So I want to thank the Rad Pack for putting this community challenge out here for us to do. And I love things like this because it brings the community together, and I love to watch the other videos and see what everybody else picked. But I want to thank you all for watching. You know, I appreciate everyone who clicks on the videos. Please let me know down in the comments, what are your favorite 9 movies of 1994? And we'll go over, and I'll see if we have anything in common. I'm sure we'll have some crossovers, but if you haven't seen some of the movies on the list, definitely check them out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found a few things maybe that you haven't seen before. If you like things like this, top 10 lists, top 9 lists, collection overviews, hauls, room tours that are coming, a desk tour that's coming. I'm working on a new desk. Please consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you know when I upload again. We do everything physical media here, and would love to have you join the community. So I want to thank you again for watching, and for now, that's a wrap.